Hey guys, welcome to the channel, Rugged T Wood Design. Today I'm going to be putting together the DWS779. It is a Dewalt double bevel compound sliding miter saw, and also have the stand with it. Okay, so I got everything unboxed here. All the parts set out. Kind of went over the instructions how to put it together, so now we're going to put it together. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to attach is going to be the leg stand, and got my parts laid out. Want to make sure that I had, the bolts and all the washers that they give you for them. And so that goes down on this end over here. And what they don't tell you on the instructions is you do need an Allen key in order to screw these things in. And these washers are slightly curved. I don't know what the technical term for it is, but they do kind of sit pretty naturally on the round beam post thing. Okay, next I'm going to be attaching the foot that goes what the wheels are going to get attached to. So next thing I'm going to be doing is going to be putting on the wheels. And so you kind of got washer, got the bushing, which allows it to spin once it gets put on there. And got another nut and washer. It is a 3/4 inch. They say use an open end, but I'm using socket for one end and just using an open end wrench to hold it on the other. Got a couple wheels on there. Can do some wheelies. Okay, so I've got the underside put together. Got the wheels on. Got the leg that the wheels go to, and then got the stand on that side. So we'll be able to flip. I'm gonna flip it over and probably work on the other side. Got these bands we'll end up cutting. They say in the instructions not to cut it till you've kind of got this stuff together, because you don't want to have it pinching your fingers and move it around while you're trying to get this stuff on. Not that I think it probably would have, but there are some people that probably would pinch their fingers. Okay, so I got it flipped over, and they say not to raise it till you get the saw itself put on there. So they do say in the instructions that there is an Allen key. It's kind of, you can't really see it when you have it flipped on the other side, but it is on the kickstand side, right hand side. Here's a little Allen key that they say comes provided. And see it rotated out, because you'll need it to be able to loosen these bolts here in order to put the miter saw on. So for anybody that's wondering, it's right there. It comes with the stand. Okay guys, got it unboxed. There's a few parts that'll have to be put on the side, like it has some handles that kind of go on the side, and this is DWS779. Dewalt also makes a similar one, that's the DWS780. They both have a 15 amp, 3800 RPM motor. Some of the reviews I read that just talked about the two say that really the only difference is the price for one. There's about like $200 more for the 780 versus the 779. They have a different blade on them. they, I guess, apparently have a little bit different locking mechanism. One reviewer said that the 780 didn't have a handle for picking it up, but clearly the 779 has a handle for picking it up. They talked about the weight being a little different. It was a little heavy. I think that I mean, it's pretty manageable. I mean, you don't have to be like a huge guy to be able to pick this thing out of the box. Most of this styrofoam likes to catch it. So I'm going to put the handles and everything together, and then we'll move on next to putting it on its stand. Okay, so the first part of the instructions are about taking the extension and just sliding it in. And you have, let's see, this is the clamp that'll go underneath. So they show this bolt is not being on here, and you're like, okay, where's the part itself? Well, yeah, at least with mine, when I got it, is already inserted up into the saw itself, so I don't have to worry about putting it in there. I'm not sure if they do it with all of them, but if anybody's wondering, it is under there. So, well, and do you mean it doesn't explain it that I saw in the instructions, but you may be wondering, okay, what's that there for on the handle? Well, obviously you know it's not going to go in that way. So I think what they ended up doing is it made it as a stopping point, because it goes just on the other side. Let's see if I can get it there, and it stops. So you kind of know exactly where you have to be able to stop to have the handle in the correct position for being able to clamp it on. Okay, so I've got nut washer. This is that clamp going up into that bolt, and you can see it threads it right up and keeps it tight in there. Yeah, there you go. So I will move on, and I will do the other side now too. So one thing that you will need is you'll definitely need some kind of elevated source, because I really didn't want to like tip this thing up on its side to be able to put these clamps on, but it is nice to have something elevated so that you can kind of get underneath to be able to attach the hand hold things. Okay, so next I'm going to put the material clamp down into there. So if you look down, and there's a place for clamping on both sides, but they only give you one clamp, so I'm assuming you probably have to spend $60 to buy another one. I mean, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a number there. But you can see the clamp, it's got a flat side there, and it needs to be oriented this way. So to put it on there so that it gets locked into place, let's see, it's there. Got your flat side, it'll slide down into it, and then once it's in there, you rotate it, and you now have the round side, so it is locked in there. I mean, that's pretty cut and dry, easy to be able to take it off there, put it on the other side. If you're, whatever you're working with, you wanted to clamp on the other side, or if you have, you know, 2 clamps, you probably set. So that's pretty, other than putting the old dust collector on, that's pretty much the gist of putting the whole DWS779 sliding miter saw. So yeah, that is assembly, and it didn't take very long to put that together. It definitely took longer to put the stand together. So the next thing we'll be working on will be putting the saw onto the stand. Okay, so in the instructions for the stand, they tell you to loosen the bolts, or actually I think remove these bolts out of the stand there, so that you're able to adjust them to put your particular saw on there. It is, from what the guy at the hardware store said, that it's universal. You can use this stand for multiple other miter saws. So if you had a different miter saw, the stand apparently should be able to work for it. You just are able to adjust it as needed. So I guess I better get my tool. So I'm gonna come over here and take these bad boys out. Yeah.
Sometimes you think those guys don't want you to get those open off of there. And for those of you that are wondering how it kind of works, so it's got a little square nut that's in there. So there's your bolt, got your washer. So this thing actually can slide into any of these. So if you had a saw that was, you know, not rolled along, it can go into. So you can fit on each side. You've got, looks like 4 holes there. Excuse me, to be able to kind of fit and kind of get any kind of size miter saw probably attached to it. So next thing we do is gonna lower the saw down and get it on there and then get it bolted down.
Okay, so I've got the miter saw sitting down here, and got those first 4 bolts taken out that will actually hold the miter saw down, and just looking at the thing, just seeing how everything adjusts. So these tracks also have a bolt here that can slide that way or this direction there, and so you can also bring the 2 brackets that it sits on in and out depending on how wide the saw ends up, your miter saw ends up being. So I do see how you can kind of probably put any miter saw on this stand, that it's pretty universal. So next thing I'm going to do now is this one that's here is straight, and I'm going to go ahead and get the front part bolted down, slide that one, get the bolts in, and get it actually attached to it. Pretty cut and dry. Look forward to getting to actually start to use the saw. So it's pretty easy to get that little square washer, get it lined up into there. I get it. I mean, it's, as far as like this, you know, sometimes you get things that have machine holes, they don't want to screw into it, but since they were already in there, probably just make sure that they were machined properly. It actually went in there pretty good. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to use 2 hands now to, it doesn't take much pressure holding that washer down there. Let's see if I can. Okay, so since I got the saw on there, it's got some weight holding the thing down. I can see how this thing would spring up on you if you were to release the lever without having some weight to hold it down, because you definitely have to apply some force to pick it up. So you'll disengage it there, and the wheels help to roll it forward, and then you release it, and it should lock it into place. Okay, so now got it there locked into place. It's a beauty. Yeah, like it says in the instructions, you know, you gotta put your foot here, being on this side. That's the handle that releases it, and you pull up on this, and the wheels will start to pull it forward, which helps, you know, because the axis that it's on will help raise it up. So it is under like a tension with the spring system that it has in there. And for anybody that's unfamiliar with how they stay locked into place, you got this little pin here. So you push down on the saw just a little bit, pull it out, and then the saw will come up. So then you're in the position to be able to start cutting. So with our Bosch chop saw already cut, I mean, you got buttons on the left and the right side, so you can use with either hand. And you push there, and it has another handle here. So once you push it, it would be able to engage it and start cutting. With the Dewalt, it's pretty much you only can use your right. Well, they make it so you can only use it going one way, but it's got this little tiny switch here that you push it over there, and that makes it so you can actually start to engage the saw. And yeah, and I've got power to it, so I was aware of it when I did that. Even though it did startle me. Okay, so I got a sacrificial piece of wood on here. So since I'm gonna be doing this one-handed for being able to record it, I'll try out the little clamp to clamp down your piece. Likes to walk a little bit there. Get it, so yeah, that's stay stationary. It's nice and tight. Got safety glasses on. Okay, so we're gonna see how it cuts. Woo. Boy, that is a nice clean cut. Love it. So one of the things that really got me excited about the saw and swapping it out with the Bosch is that because our Bosch doesn't have a stop on it, so this one here on the Dewalt DWS779, you can flip that down, and that bolt is adjustable. Right now, because that gets going down into it. So you got this here. You just unscrew that a little bit. Get your wing nut back up there. It'll come down and it'll stop. So you can see I'll be able to cut about that little divot off in there, off of that high. And I mean, you can adjust that thing to however depth you want. Nice thing is you can get the saw sliding, so we're gonna give that a shot. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I like there's so much to be able to do with this kind of a thing. And one of the things I had forgotten to do as I'm doing my little test cuts is I forgot to put the little sawdust catcher on the back. That is one weird way of putting it on there because it just shoots straight back like that. So you gotta have a clear path back here, but yeah, so that's the DWS779. Definitely really impressed with it.